onto YouTube. And it's preparing the live stream. It's always a good thing that we're going to have these recordings put back onto the community.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you want to go ahead and get started?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to welcome everybody. It's so great to have you all here to talk about our new policy and compliance management user experience in Rome. And I am very happy to be joined by Anushree Randad.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here. And I'm really excited today to walk you through what we've released in Rome store release.
Absolutely. We are very excited about Rome. All of the new Rome applications are on the ServiceNow store, so you can go and download those as soon as you are ready. And we have a series of webinars that's actually talking about all the new enhancements. So we started out, hopefully you've been able to watch the one that we did a couple of weeks ago around risk management. We had one just earlier this week on privacy that was spectacular. Next week, Anushree is going to join us again on Tuesday for audit, and then Thursday we'll have vendor risk management, and then we'll wrap it all up with regulatory change management in the following week. But today we're actually here to talk about policy and compliance management user experience. The new user experience for policy and compliance really helps you improve your decision making and get those actionable insights. The quick links that are available on the consolidated homepage allow you to very easily and very quickly take action. And then the consolidated tasks and issues and lists allow you to streamline that whole process and be able to have everything that you need at your fingertips in one place. So I know everyone's anxious to see it. So without further ado, I am going to turn this over to Anushree, who's going to walk through a couple of slides, and then she's going to show you a detailed demo, live demo, of all of the new features for policy and compliance management.
Thanks a lot, Teresa. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Yep. I hope you all can see my screen.
I can see it.
Awesome. So hi everyone, I am Anushree and I'm a Principal Product Manager. I manage our policy and compliance application, and I'm really excited today to show you our brand new UI, which looks completely different than what you see today. So with that, let me go to the next slide. So our mission behind creating this UI or providing persona-based workspaces is to provide a better user experience for our customers. We want our customers to love their work while they are working on any of the integrated risk management processes, and we want to make the platform more user-friendly and smart. With that, what we have worked on for the Rome release, which was released just last month, was the new user experience, and we've released multiple workspaces. And as Teresa mentioned, there are multiple webinars coming up. But today I'm going to take you over our compliance workspace. So the various key personas that we are targeting for the compliance workspace are the corporate compliance manager, corporate compliance analyst, and regulatory change manager. In today's session, I will be focusing more on the corporate compliance manager and analyst personas, and we have a separate webinar coming up on the regulatory change management workspace as well. With that, I am going to give you highlights of what's coming up or what is actually released on the compliance workspace. Compliance workspace is supported for two personas, corporate compliance manager and analyst. It provides the homepage for both of these personas, also the unified task page and issues landing page. I will go over the details as well as the demos soon. And each of the record has an overview page, which provides the more information or summary of that record along with the contextual side panel and a 360 view of the record as well. With that, I will just take you through individual features that I just mentioned. Homepage is persona based, which will provide actionable insights to the user. And it will have the quick links that the persona that logged in would be able to take actions on. There's task landing page, which is a unified landing page for the user who logs in. And it provides a consolidated view of all the tasks that are assigned to them, all the approval records or review records that are pending for their review and approval. So they will be able to see everything that is assigned to them, assigned to their team, and with the various filters that will help them to see tasks that are overdue, upcoming, unassigned, and other criteria as well. And I also want to mention the task page is completely configurable, so you can add more conditions to the tasks that show up there. The issues page is also another landing page that we've built for the compliance, risk, audit teams to actually review all the issues that are assigned to their team that the team is managing. It provides a single view for all the issues and the triages and observations that the teams are working on. This page is also completely configurable. So you could, if you want to show certain widgets, you would be able to show them, hide them based on your requirements. Then we have the overview page, which is a dashboard-like page, which you will see on all the records or most of the records that we are providing. So this view basically provides a summary of the record. It is a dashboard which provides you information and reports that is important for that record. And it also gives you that state flow that you see on the top as well. Then we have contextual side panel on each of the record, which is completely collapsible. You can hide it, show it as you want. This panel provides more contextual information for that record. So for a particular policy, for a particular control, what additional information that you would like to see for that particular record will show up here, such as hierarchy of the policies or control objectives, or any regulations that are addressed by a particular control objective or a policy. All that information is shown on the side panel. Then we have a brand new widget or UI that we built, which is called 360 View Relationships. This widget or UI will show you relationships between different objects. So if you're looking at an entity in this example, you would be able to see various things that are associated with the entity. So you could see the risk controls, policies that are associated with the entity. You can see the upstream and downstream relationships between the entity and any other things like any open issues, failed indicators. So this is a single view with the relationships for that particular record. So you'll understand a 360 view of a specific record. Then you have breadcrumb navigation, which we kind of have in our UI today in our native UI, but this is at a global level. So you would be able to keep track of the path that you're taking. It would keep track of the record that you're jumping from or coming from, so you can jump back and forth. So it provides a complete view of the path that you're taking or where you're coming from, and it provides user a better idea of where they're coming from or where they're going. And then finally, all of this is completely configurable using the Workspace new UI builder. So if any of the reports or widgets need to be reconfigured, if you want to add any other conditions, if you want to maybe change the visual or report type, or even move the widgets around, you could do that. You can add more widgets if you want. So this is completely configurable and easy for you to update. So with that, the highlights that we already saw are homepage, unified task page, issues landing page, overview of a record, contextual side panel in each record, 360 view of relationships, breadcrumb navigation, and finally, everything is configurable. So there are a lot of things going on, and it's truly an enhanced user experience. And I would love to show you the demo of it today.
As you're starting that up, I forgot to mention, everybody, please ask questions. We want to make this interactive. There's a Q&A panel at the very bottom down here, or the chat panel, either one, use those. And I will be interrupting Anushree along the way to ask for questions.
Absolutely. All right. So I am in this instance, and I'm looking at the policy and compliance application here. Under policy and compliance application, you can see a new module that we added, which is compliance workspace. In a similar manner, you will see risk workspace and other workspace as well on individual applications. So when you click into it, and I've logged in as a corporate compliance manager here. So when you click into it, it'll open up the workspace UI for you. Now, as a corporate compliance manager, when I log in, this is my home page that I see. On my home page, what we've done is we've configured various widgets and reports here, and some quick actions that they can take from here, such as creating new records that they have access to. And you can see a task panel on the side. On the overview page here, we want to provide an overview of the compliance status to the manager. So they would be able to see various breakdown of authority documents, policies, and entities, how many of them are compliant versus non-compliant. All of these reports are completely interactive. So you could click into it and go to an individual record as well. What we're trying to solve here is, or provide you an overview of what are the different, say, regulations or authority documents that are compliant, non-compliant. Are there any high priority issues associated with it? What is the compliance percentage score associated with it? So you can dig into an individual record and get more details based on the information that you see here. Similarly, for the policies, you can see the least compliant policies with their compliance score. We also provide the high priority issues here, as well as the high risk exceptions that might have been created against a policy. So if you want to look at an individual policy which has a low compliance score and has a high risk exception, you would want to monitor that. You can dig into it and look at the details. For the entities, we also show the entities which are non-compliant, compliant based on the compliance score. Along with compliance score, we also showed the risk rating. This is coming from our risk application. And then you have other details like what is the class of the entity and what are the high priority issues. So this can easily help a manager understand which is the entity that is not performing so well or has a lower compliance score or higher risk. So they can follow up with those entity owners. Along with overall compliance status, we have the control assurance section here, which provides a manager a view of all the control assurance activities that are going on, such as control tests, indicators, and attestations. So you can see ongoing control tests. If anything is overdue, you can quickly go to them. You can also see failed tests in last 6 months. So this is a trend chart that shows up on the control tests which have been failed in last 6 months. So they can see the trend of failures over time. Similarly, for indicators, you can see open indicators that are running. You can also see which are overdue, which are the indicators with the overdue tasks, and what is the trend of the failures of these indicators in last month. Similar for the attestations. So you can see the active attestations, if anything is overdue, and the failure, the trend of the failed attestation in last 6 months. So this provides them information about how the control assurance activities are going on. If they need to track on any overdue tasks, they would be able to do that from here. Then comes a tracking section. So in the tracking section, they would be able to track various other things that are important, such as issues. So you can see open issues, overdue issues, and also overdue issues by priority. This is an aging chart. So you would be able to see how much overdue an issue is. And if it's like a critical issue, which is overdue more than 90 days, you definitely want to see what's going on. So it quickly provides them actionable insights. Along with that, it gives information about acknowledgement campaigns that are ongoing. If anything is overdue, they can track from here. Policy exceptions that are open and with overdue approvals, so they can go ahead and approve those exceptions. If anything is expiring in 7 days, they can also follow up with the requester and see if they are fixing the problem before the exception expires, or if they need any extensions. And finally, we also added a regulatory change widget here. Now, compliance workspace is accessible to both compliance personas and regulatory change personas. There are various organizations where a corporate compliance manager would also have a regulatory change management role, and they would like to understand what are the different regulatory changes coming in for different authority documents or regulations. So this is a report which shows the active regulatory changes. If anything is overdue, they can get to them. And you can see the changes or alerts by different regulations. When you click into the dashboard here, it actually takes you to the regulatory change management landing page, which they can also get to from this left menu here. So this is a landing page separately for regulatory change related activities, and this will be covered in a separate webinar. And then finally here, we also have a domain compliance status section added. This is to provide them understanding of the compliance for different domains. In this case, it's showing them the status of the privacy domain, how compliant they are. It looks like 70%. And what is the control breakdown of the privacy controls? If you click into it, it'll actually take you to the privacy workspace if you have the respective roles assigned to you. So this way you can dig into more around the actual privacy related information. So this is truly for a corporate compliance manager to understand the status and the compliance posture of their organization and take actionable, get the actionable insights quickly and take actions.
Well, I think Anushree, I think the trend charts are so valuable, and you can click into individual points on that chart and really drill down, can't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that's amazing. We do have a question around compliance. On a couple of those graphs, we have a 0% for compliance.
Yeah.
That we saw. Is that the default value? So if you hadn't tested any records, it would show up as 0, or is that saying that we have tested it and there's 0 compliance? Absolutely,
that's a great question, and we actually took care of the specific problem that we generally have. So all what you're seeing here, if it's 0, it means that it actually has controls associated with it and the compliance percentage is 0. So we have filtered out those scores that are actually just 0 by default because they were not tested out. Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah. And on the right-hand side, you can see the task panel where we provided these widgets for the user to see the tasks that are assigned to them and their group. And there are like specific scores here, which shows them the tasks that are pending their approval, if anything is overdue. For a group, if there are any unassigned tasks, overdue tasks. When I click into it, it's actually going to take me to the consolidated task landing page that I was talking about. And you can reach to it from this left-hand menu as well. But if I am coming from home page, it's going to filter out and show you what I clicked on. So here is where I can see my pending task, and there are different filters on top. So if you want to see all the tasks that are pending, you can see here. If you want to filter down on only the tasks that are overdue, you would be able to do that. If you want to see the tasks that needs your approval, you can filter down on that. The tasks that you need your review, the tasks that are newly added and in new state or draft state, which haven't been worked upon, you can see that. And finally, things that are in progress. So you know that what you've been working on and what is new. Similarly, for groups tasks, you can actually see if you're part of multiple groups, you'll be able to select the groups from here, or you can see all the tasks that are assigned to all your groups. And here again, similar filters are available. In addition, you have these unassigned filter, which is pretty useful because if something is assigned to your group and not as being assigned to an individual user, you want to catch that and assign out quickly. So these are the things that are shown here. And you can go through various tasks and then maybe work on it or follow up with your team. Then you have my items, which are basically the things that probably you have requested, such as policy exception or issues that you have been working on, or the engagement that you are basically your engagement owner. So you own those items. So these are the certain things that are under my items. And then finally, watch lists. If you have been part of any of the watch lists on any of the records, these are the things that show up here. So you can follow up if you want to and see what the status of those records. So this is a consolidated page which shows all the tasks at one place, which is, I think, something that all our customers appreciate because Otherwise, today you have to go through different modules to find out what are the different tasks and different places. So this is a consolidated view of all the tasks. Other than that, you can quickly create various records from here and take quick actions. So this is the homepage for the Corporate Compliance Manager. Along with that, we have provided different landing pages, like I've already went through task landing page and regulatory change management. There's another landing page that we worked on as the issues overview page. This is a page where you can see the overview of different issues. In this case, all the compliance issues that the corporate compliance manager is interested in. So they can see the issues by different filters here. So if they want to filter by state, by issue type, so which type of issues are created. If they want to filter by issue priority, they can do that. They can also see issues that are overdue and due in 7 days. And along with that, they can also see the overdue aging chart that you also saw on the homepage. But here you have additional filtering capability to see it by issue rating and priority. Issue rating is a new field that we've added on the issue recently in last release. So you can decide how you want to filter the overdue issues. Along with that, you can also see the issue triaging widget here, and you can filter the issue triages by state, issue type to see how the issues are being triaged. Again, this is a new feature that we released last year. So if you have been using it, you can see the issue triages that come in and then take quick actions on it. This is the issue triage aging by priority chart, which is actually telling you how long the issues are open for and still open and now not have been closed or triaged, and by priority. So you can actually quickly see that these are issues which are actually open more than 25 days and it's still open. They're still open. So you can quickly get into it and see what's going on. Then you have tracking section where you can see track other things related to issue. So you have remediation tasks that are open against issues or the overdue remediation task associated with the issues. You can also see exceptions that might have been requested on issues. So you can see open exceptions. If any exception requires approval and they are overdue, you can see that, or the exceptions that are expiring in 7 days. You can also see evidence request tasks. Again, this is another new feature that we released last year. And you will be able to see the evidence requests that has been created for this particular issue. And this is still open, so you can see what's going on this evidence request task. Other thing that we added is a performance widget where you can see open versus closed issue trend. So over a year, you can see how many issues have been open versus how many have been closed. So you can gauge the performance of your team here. On the right-hand side, you can see My Issues panel where there's a breakdown of issues that is assigned to you, or the issues that you are managing as an issue manager, or the issues that are pending for your review, or the remediation tasks that are assigned to you. You can also see the overdue issues. Similarly, for the triage issues, you can see issues that are assigned to you for triaging or issues that are pending for review. And for groups issue, you can see issues that are waiting for a response for your group. If anything is managed by your group, that show up here. If any of the issues have unassigned manager or unassigned owner, those issues also show up here. And then similar chart or similar reports for the triage issue as well. So you can quickly get to the triages and see if something is unassigned, you can assign it out. And finally, we have a watching section where you can see triages and remediation tasks that you've been watching. So you can follow up on that. Along with that, you can quickly create issue remediation task or issue rating, or you can go to issue rating setup and see what is the current issue rating that is set up.
And this is the page here that you could use the UI builder if you wanted to customize it and add another report to this or move things around, correct?
Absolutely. And along with the UI builder, by default, we've provided some settings where you can actually go back and let me see. I might not have access because I've logged in as Jacob Williams, but I'll probably show it in a bit. But what you can see is you can actually configure the filters at a page level. So if you want to change conditions of what type of issues show up here, you can change that. You can also decide whether you want to show exceptions, evidence tasks. If you're not using these widgets, you can hide them completely. And for audit on audit workspace in the next webinar where I will show it, instead of issue triages, you can actually will be able to configure and see the observations reports instead. So these are some of the things that are configurable easily, but along with that, you can, in addition, you can also configure and add more reports using our UI builder.
And I think this, can you might just answer the question here. The question was, is there a similar view for the compliance team, not the business, which shows all the issues?
So this is the view for the compliance team to show, which shows all the issues here. And by default, we have configured it to show all the compliance issues, all the control testing related issues. But if you want to change the conditions, like I was saying, you can absolutely do that and show all the issues.
Yeah, so you can, if it's not the compliance team, if you had a different team that had just a subset of the issues, you could set it up so they would see just what they want.
Correct, exactly. And we've done that on different workspaces. Like for audit, you can see different types of issue. On risk, you can see different types of issue. And compliance, you can see different types of issues.
And the business and the ITIS compliance changes are present. That was a question, but I'm not quite sure I get that.
Yeah, you can elaborate that question.
Yeah, if you can respond back, the person who asked the question with a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
We absolutely could change it so that if you logged in as somebody else, you would see a different view. So it's role based. So the UI builder does not replace the dashboards through reports and analytics module, right? It's different, or is it the same?
So UI builder is a technology that is used to for the workspace. So if you want to configure any reports on the workspace that I was showing, you need to configure it through the UI builder. So the dashboard capability that we have on the platform today and analytics module is no more the same on the workspace. Everything that you want to configure, the reports or the PA widgets, have to be configured using UI builder.
And I guess we should point out that the new compliance workspace is not something that everybody has to use right now. If people are using the classic workspace with the dashboards and the reports of the analytics module, they can continue to do that. Although it is something that we're hoping people love and move over to eventually.
Correct. And we're working on this new user experience in general for the platform, which is called Polaris, which will also be released soon. So that will give a parity between our the Heisenberg platform that you see here, the old platform and the new platform, and the interaction will be much easier. So from the same view, you can quickly go to the older dashboard that you would have had on the platform and quickly go to the workspace. So there'll be more cohesive experience.
Absolutely. We did have some clarification on the one question.
Yeah.
The question was really, are the compliance controls focused strictly on the business related controls, or IT or IS controls, or both? I mean, the answer I think is all of both, right?
Yeah, it's currently focused on both. So it shows all the controls that exist. Doesn't only focus on IT or IS controls. It shows both.
And you can filter on that, obviously, and
yeah,
everything is configurable. So if you didn't want to show both, you could absolutely not show both. But
correct. So you can see the filter here, right, on the issues. If you want to, like, I mean, similar filter you can apply on the controls as well. If you want to filter out certain entities, you can. But I just want to show everywhere we've added some filters to make it easy. So you can select the entities or the issues that are specific to entities that you're looking for easily.
Fantastic. I think that answers the questions we have currently.
Okay. Awesome.
Keep the questions coming. We want to make sure that we want to make sure we get your questions answered. And if you have a question, it probably means that somebody else has a question.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are all great questions. So you can easily filter the entire dashboard based on an entity or set of entities that you're interested in. All right. So these are all the landing pages. The other things that I want to show you is the list that we've added. And I see a question that all these UI came out of the box. The answer is yes. All of what you see today is all out of the box. So we have worked with multiple customers. We have got a lot of feedback, what should go on the homepage and the landing pages, what conditions. So we've done a lot of feedback and research around these, and we try to provide close to what a more generic user experience that these type of persona would like to see on their homepage and other landing pages. All right. So other than that, if you notice on the left-hand side, these are similar to the modules that you see in our older platform. But if you notice on this homepage or on this workspace, I can see modules that are related to compliance. So you have a compliance library here with authority documents, control objective policies. You have a scoping section which shows all the entities. Then you have policy acknowledgement showing campaigns and other setup. Policy exceptions, so showing you all the policy exception related modules, control attestation. And then you also see control testing module, which is generally sitting in our audit application today. What we are trying to do here is we want to provide a cohesive experience for that persona. So we are showing everything that a user would like to see or they're working on. So you can see the control, the plans, engagements, control tests, any other audit tasks, test plans, test templates, control monitoring will show the indicators. Then you have evidence request related modules, issues in issue triages. And in addition, you can also see the regulatory alerts and taxonomy related modules that are again coming from a regulatory change management application. So this is one workspace where the user who logged in would be able to see everything that they care about. Along with that, I am going to show you different record views and the record overview page and side panel and how it looks like. So let's jump into the policy record here. So this is my policy record, which is a change management standard. If you can see, we have added the information on top, which are probably most important fields that you would like to see on the policy. What is the state? Who's the owner? What is a valid from, valid to? So we've actually thought through the design of each and every page and validated what makes more sense to come on top. Then you can see all the different related lists that you usually see on the page at the bottom today. All of them are shown on top here. So you can see entity types, control objective, and the various UI actions on here as well. And the additional related lists will show up here under more. Along with that, we've added this overview tab. So this overview tab is nothing but a dashboard that we built for this particular policy. This will show you the policy description, which state the policy is in. There's a status section, which shows you the compliance score of that policy and the trend over time. So you can see how this policy has been doing with respect to compliance status. Then you can see non-compliant entities. It starts from least compliant score to the most, and non-compliant control objective as well, which are contributing to the compliance score. You can also see the control status. So how many controls are non-compliant versus compliant, which is basically affecting your compliance score here. Then you have tracking section, where you can track different policy acknowledgements that are going on, the results of the acknowledgements. If someone has not yet responded, you can follow up. If anything is overdue, you can follow up. Policy exceptions that are open, overdue, expiring in 7 days. And the exceptions by risk rating. So you would be able to see if any exception is the high risk rating, you can monitor it and make sure that it has been approved, it has been reviewed properly, and the fix is applied before it expires. If there are issues associated with the policy, which also means the issues are coming up from the related control objectives and controls that show up here. So this is a consolidated view of everything that you want to see at the policy level, or a summary of that particular policy. And on the right-hand side, this is a contextual side panel, which can be expanded and also collapsed. You can see hierarchy of the policy. So if there is a parent policy or a child policy, you will be able to see that along with the compliance percentage. And this is the information, which is something that we've added additionally, which is a regulation address. We've gotten a feedback from customers to understand what are the different regulations that this particular policy is addressing. So this is an indirect connection through our control objectives. So we are showing all the regulations that are being addressed through this policy, through the control objectives that are related to this policy. And what are the different risk statements that we are also associated with the control objective under this policy. So you'll be able to see more contextual information about this particular policy. And along with that, you obviously have your details tab, which is nothing but a form that we have today with all the information sectioned out properly. So we redesign all the form layouts. Once again, we've added all the required sections. You can jump to them quickly. And we wanted to make the form more clean, more logical. So we've done this on each and every form. So we've redesigned everything. We've added more contextual information. And so you can see completely new design here. Now, along with that, I also want to show you another thing, which I've mentioned before, which is 360 view. So this 360 view is available on the records. You can click into it and look at how this particular policy is associated with other records. So which is the parent policy, which is the child policy, if there is any, what are the different entity types that this applies to, or if there are any policy approvals, control objective, policy exceptions, any evidence that is available, and you can always click on it and get to more information. If from here, if you move on to another control, and so that will show the 360 view of the control that you just clicked on. So you can see the control status, and all the related records. So this is available in all the records, and you'll be able to see this button on top. Along with that, similar to this policy, I have a question already, which asks if we have something similar for control objective. Yes, so this is the view for the control objective right here, which shows your description of the control objective, status, so the compliance percentage, very similar concept. And the compliance trend, it also shows the non-compliant entities and what is the reason of non-compliance. So these are the entities, and maybe in one of the case there is an ineffective test. In other cases, the indicators have failed or an attestation failure. So it provides you a reason or why this particular compliance score is what it is right now. Then you have tracking section where you're tracking all the controls that are related to the control objective. What is the different status? If anything is in draft, you can go and quickly see and put it in monitor or send it for attestation. You can see non-compliant controls, and also it shows the controls that are not tested in 6 months. So you'll be able to go and see what is happening with those controls. Along with that, you have policy exception, which is very similar widget that we saw before on policy. Issues widget, also similar to what we saw on the policy. Then you have attestations as well, which is actually showing you the status of all the attestation coming from the controls associated with this control objective. So if anything is overdue, what is the status of attestation in the last 6 months? And then you can see the control test related widget as well, which shows you open control tests, overdue, and status of tests in last 6 months as well. How many are ineffective, effective, etc. And on the right-hand side, you can see the hierarchy of the control objective. You can see the entity types that are applied to the control objective. What is a parent policy? If there are multiple policies, you can see them here. And also the regulations and the citations associated with the control objective. And you have the related risk statements. So it gives you a complete view of the control objective. In a very similar manner, we have the same view for the controls as well. Very similar concept, like the state, description, the status, what is the overall compliance. If this was non-compliant, you would also see another widget here listing down the reasons of non-compliance, if it was an indicator failure, attestation failure, etc. If there is an exception requested, you can see the status as exempted or pending exception, and what is the valid to date of the exception. So we've taken care of all the different states and what information that you would like to see here. And in a very similar manner, you can track all the issues, attestation, and control tests that are ongoing on this particular control. At the bottom, we have list of all the completed attestation for this control. So you can see the history of attestations and the responses as well. On the right-hand side, you'll see the key information. So if this is a key control, is it exempted? What is the weighting? If it's a mandated control or a non-mandatory control, what is the control objective related to it, the parent policy, as well as the regulations and citations that are addressed. Again, this is information that is available through the control objective and for the control as well. So you can pull this, we pull this information and shown here. Again, you can see the related risk. And if there is any response available for that risk, if it is mitigated, accepted, what is the residual risk associated with it, all of that information is shown here. And along with that, lastly, we also show the affected entities. So we show the direct entity, which is associated with the control here, which is financial accounting. Along with that, we also show which other entities might be getting affected because of this. So you see the upstream entity, which is finance, and the downstream entities as well, which are New York data center and etc.
So Anushree, we have a question. It's about the alerts. Are there out-of-the-box alerts when changes to the parent policies, when the parent policies change? So the owners of the child policies or related ones are made aware? Or is that something that we need to configure? And the same about the indicators related to a policy?
Yeah, so currently we don't have the alerts out of the box, but that's a great feedback. These notifications can be configured, of course. We try to avoid creating too many notifications, but if this is something critical and you feel that we should have out of the box, maybe we could enhance in future, but these could be configured easily.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah. And lastly, I want to show the issues overview. It's very similar. So you can see the details of the issue, recommendation, action plan, what is the response of the issue if it's remediated, and what is the explanation. Along with that, it also shows you how many remediation tasks are there and how many have been completed and if anything is overdue. So this is more of a task sort of view that we wanted to provide, where they can add comments and work with the issue related issue owners or issue reviewers easily. And on the right hand side, of course, you see the contextual information about the issue, like what is the issue source, what is the type of issue, if issue rating or priority, you can see that, how it affects, what it exactly it affects, which entity it affects, or what control it is related to. All of that is shown here. So we have these overviews. Also, if you go to a certain entity, you will be able to see the overview of that entity. And there are various records that we are providing similar overviews for on the regulatory change side, on the risk side, and you will be able to see that during all the different webinars that we will be having. Okay, so lastly, one more thing that I want to show before we end the call is the corporate compliance analyst person as well. So if I log in as corporate compliance analyst, let's log in as Harry Robinson. I wanted to show how the view or the access changes for them. So if I log in into as a corporate compliance analyst, the homepage is slightly different. So a corporate compliance analyst would still have access to see the overall, the compliance status of different authority documents, policies, and entities. What we've additionally added here or changed a bit here is on the control assurance section, they can see things that are assigned to them if they're working on certain audit tasks or control tests, or anything assigned to the other auditors on the same compliance engagement that they might be working on. And they can see the status of the audit task, that so if they can see control test and which state it is in. Similarly, for indicators, they can filter down based on the entities that they are interested to review. On attestation, again, based on the entities that they want to review the attestations for. And both of them show the status of the ongoing or completed indicators and attestations. Then you have tracking section where you have policy exceptions, and you can filter down by policy for that individual widget. And you can see the status of different policy exceptions. Here you can see the issues. Similarly, you can filter them down by entities. Very similar chart as you were seeing on the corporate compliance homepage as well. But additionally, we are providing the capability to filter down by entities. And finally, the acknowledgement campaigns, again, filter down by policies. So this is a new UI or new homepage for corporate compliance analysts. All the other things remain the same. So they would have access to the task page, they would have access to the issues overview page. But if you notice, they don't have access to the regulatory change landing page because probably they don't have that access. So this is what you can see. And on the list module, now you would be able to see only the modules that the corporate compliance analyst would have access to and not everything else. So these are some of the changes that we've done for the corporate compliance analyst when they log into the workspace. I'm going to pause here and see if there are any questions.
No, we haven't got any more questions right now.
And we would definitely love to get your feedback. We will be enhancing this user experience in upcoming releases. So more feedback we get, more we can enhance. So yeah, totally, like you can send your feedback later through the email or reach out to me or Teresa to send your feedback.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can also leave questions on the community. This will be available on the community. Shall I go ahead and wrap up, Anushree?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let me grab the screen from you.
I see one last question here.
One just popped up, didn't it?
Yeah. So I want to just make sure that I answer that. So the question is, are there any new roles being developed? You're absolutely right. So we actually developed 2 new roles, corporate compliance manager and corporate compliance analyst. So to get access to the workspace, you require these roles. We created these overarching role because we want to provide the complete experience. So as a corporate compliance manager, which the role contains other roles such as compliance manager and audit manager roles, which are technical roles today. So this corporate compliance manager would get access to these roles, and that's why they can see other modules as well, like engagement and audit plans. And you need to have that role to access the workspace.
Fantastic.
All this information is available on the documentation, so you should get more information if you're not clear.
Fantastic. Wonderful. And we do, and they mentioned they're going to watch the recording. This is recorded. But we would love to continue to connect with you. Please reach out to us on the risk homepage, or specifically our policy and compliance management homepage. You can engage with us on the community, and there is an Ask the Experts playlist, which is in the chat session, that you can see all of the past Ask the Experts. And with that, make sure that we haven't got any questions listed here. I think we're good. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Anushree. And we hope to see you all at Now at Work. That is